So my name is Raquel. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I work with obsolescence, like all computers, like Commodore 64, Teletext, typewriters, and fax machines. But I would like to explain a little bit how I ended working with all this. And as I was saying, I came from analog photography. And I think this idea of like viewing the world through the viewfinder, that was already agreed. And it just ended me to work with pixel graphics. So for almost 10 years, I was working with doing like video clips and live animation. And I have a very crappy computer, so I couldn't really install like super high VJ software. So I made my own with this Flash and very like lo-fi graphics animation. And for almost 10 years, I have a lot of fun. So this is actually a compilation that a label did for me, and a lot of friends that make like a remix, and it was a lot of fun. But in 2010, I moved to Sweden, and sadly I got as a present a Commodore 64. And I never had it before. I never have idea how to use it. And in a way, I started to research, and this idea of like obsolescence came up. So I started with Bruce Sterling because he's a sci-fi writer, and he did this Did Media project that make a compilation of all these old technologies were almost like a zombie technology. And I kind of like idea of like when the commercial value of a technology disappears, you can actually play and do things with it. And that's what's happened. And you can find a lot of like news about how obsolescence that is supposed not to be working is using for like high-tech espionage, or use it for like the US nuclear weapon program that still use floppy disk to run the software, or like the bureaucrats in Japan that still use floppy disks. So in 2010, so this is Teletext. So do you know what Teletext is? So this is the Czech one. Actually, I took the screenshot yesterday. So Teletext is like the pre-internet. So there was this world conference in the late 70s that every country developed this own technology for this real-time information before internet. And the one who won was BBC, CFAX, and it was Teletext. So Teletext is a service of news on demand that it's just run in the TV signal. So you trigger with your remote control, and you got real-time information in super blocky, high-res text style. The idea is in 2010, I found this Twitter about a teletext engineer called Peter Kwan that is gone. Okay. That he used Teletext to see his Twitter account. And I was like, okay, I want to use that. So it's actually the idea of when it lost its commercial value, you can start to work with it. Actually, this is a news from the Spanish newspaper that the people in jail were contacting to each other using the chat teletext service as an alternative way of communication. So this is something I really like about the Solus things, that when a technology is supposed to not be working, you can actually use it for like, hi, and try to make something else. This is actually a chat in Spanish that is what the hell is using teletext? Well, I do. So this is actually one of my first commercial, the only commercial work I did with teletext. So I got contacted to do this Strangers theme promotion. So they sent me the super high-res frame, and I converted into that. Because it's only like 7 colors, 42 lanes, 22 rows. And there's a limitation, but with limitations always came possibilities. So Teletext is, I've been using like this technology for quite a long time. And it's actually, so this is a floppy disk camera. I kind of get it in thrift stores. So in 2012, in Finland, there was the 30th anniversary of the Teletext. So they decided to do this international Teletext art festival, and they invited a lot of artists. So for a month, we were in the public Finnish TV with this kind of art. Because if you know what Teletext is, it's kind of pretty boring thing, like service information about weather or news. But you can actually do like really cool stuff with it. And for almost 4 years, they were like running this festival, and this also moved to Germany, to the public TV. So the thing is, like, one of the things that really interests me from the obsolescence is not just emulate the technology, so actually create your own teletext signal. And Peter Kwan built this, like, because I'm not the engineer, so I have a limitation with coding and programming, but he built this open source teletext inserter that you can connect to a TV and create your own teletext signal, and you can make these super cool projects. But now you can actually use a Raspberry Pi. So you can generate your own signal with a Raspberry Pi, so it's all open source. And since Teletext is a standard in Europe, you just need a TV with a remote control that have the option to trigger Teletext. So with a Raspberry and a TV, you can make really crazy things like this. So I got invited to this Art Hack Day in Stockholm, and the idea behind that year was the life over internet. So what would happen when the internet? So we decided, I did this project in collaboration with Go280, this musician, Swedish musician, and Posan, he's a programmer. And we did this like cemetery, because in the future, the obituaries will be not your loving parents or everything. It will be that internet knows about you, like how many times you play this crappy song, or how many gifts of cats you send. So we make this kind of cemetery using old technology, this zombie technology, to kind of like play with the idea of the life after internet. Also, one of the features of Teletext is the horoscope. So of course, I need to do these like Teletext norms that they predict the future. So you trigger one page, and it will give you your future, just in Teletext. But there's also a Teletext museum, also in Finland. and you can find, like, they invite artists, and this is the piece I have. So so now they have this Teletext museum just running on the TV. That's it. So actually, I got this picture from a friend that he was, I think it was he was watching football results in Teletext, and he found me and sent me that picture, like, where are you there? Yes. And also I use it for live performance, because instead of using a computer, it's kind of cool to use a remote control. So you just trigger the graphics just using the remote control. And there was a performance in collaboration with a Swedish musician called Alejandra Nilsson, and I was using this typewriter, Commodore 64 and Teletext. So she was actually connected through sensors, so we were making all the image and the sound in real time. So with something very limited, you can actually do really crazy things. This is in Ars Electronica, so we make like a Teletext hackathon. And so everything that we produced was suddenly put in the super 4K TV, and it's just really, really small. So it's actually pretty cool to see it that way. So we were kind of like in the basement of Ars Electronica doing Teletext. So we were kind of like the underground. And as you can see, this is like a very simple sequence that you can do. So this is a project called Inattention, and yeah, I also got invited for the 40th anniversary of the German Teletext, and they make me do these like celebration pictures. As you can see, I'm very simple with color, so this was kind of advanced, just yellow. And well, I would like to show you, because normally I work everything on Teletext, but I got invited in 2020 and for a residency in Bilbao and France, in Angoulême, La Maison des Artistes. And the thing, as you know, was pandemic and lockdown. So I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks, and I was there for 3 months, with no internet and no connection, just a computer and a hard drive. And I came up with this animation that I would like to show you, please. Thanks. Well, this animation is just made with an open source editor, like an online open source that is used to make like teletext. So it's just like a very like simple code. So all the graphics were using this offline editor, and I was just doing this for 3 months. And the thing is, like, since I didn't have like Wi-Fi, so I couldn't have any Zoom with anyone, but people were calling me and telling me like, yeah, I'm doing sports, I'm doing like, cakes, I'm doing baking, everything. So I just put all the information in this animation. So it was just, the sound is made with a thin can, that is an amplifier, and a Nintendo DS that has a core synthesizer, that's it, and a teletext. So actually with very low profile and low technology, you can come up with like more really complex things. So yeah, and also like really like the idea of fanzines and everything. So I'm also using like teletext for graphics, because at the end it's like you can vectorize and you have like a, even if it's a very low-fi file, it's like 2 kilobytes. You can actually vectorize and you can make it as bigger as you want. So there's no limitation. Even if it's a limited technology, you have no limitation in which format you can build with it. So Finland again. so so yeah. So actually there was an installation last year in Denver, and one of the cool things about the teletext is can actually you can get real-time information, but since there's a limitation in the characters and there's no picture, it's just direct information. So there's no space for bullshit, because you cannot have it. It's impossible. So, and you know, with the Ukrainian war and everything, I was doing this, I've been like collecting since the start, a screenshot with all the teletext countries that have news, and I've been just collecting all the real-time information. It's quite interesting what you can get from teletext rather than the news. And the other technology I use is the Commodore 64. How many know this computer? Yes. So, and as I say, I got it very late, and they gave me this Commodore 64, and suddenly they took me to a demo party. The demo party, I don't know if you know about it, it's just like a weekend that a bunch of people meet, and well, my first demo party was Data Storm in Gothenburg, and it's more focused in C64s and Amiga. And basically was like, just go there, produce something, enter the competition, and people will tell you you're good or bad, you're lame or elite. That's it. So, but what I really like it about it is the challenge, because it's so basically, and I work with as a graphician, and I work with a musician and a programming, and we just have to come up with something. And I just use this character set. So that's something I really like, because the 64 is just like, the keyboard has these symbols on it, and you just have a black screen with a blinking dot, and it's just waiting for you to do something. And it's just using this combination of different text characters, you came up with a graphic. So this is something I built on the Commodore 64. It's part of a live typing animation. And basically, it's just like knitting, because you connect the different text characters, like triangle with triangle with triangle, and you just compile and put all together, and you make all these kinds of graphics. So unfortunately, I have a PDF, so that should be running. So this is as an example of some of the demos I make in 4 years I was in Sweden, and it was like dancing also as it, and 20 years into nothing. So you can find it on the internet. So basically it's just typing characters and put it on together. This one was super pretty advanced because it was 32 frames. Very good. And yeah, so it was supposed to, well. And another technology used, well, is the fax machine. So there was a live performance we did in Transmediale in 2013 that we basically were joking with the idea of this bureaucratic office. So we have the typewriter, and people were sending fax in real time using online services, and we built like 300 meters of fax, and we just like, yeah, so bunch of the theme. So This is, yeah, no, it's not this video, sorry. um, this is this is a collaboration also with Go280, and we got invited to do a performance for kids. And we came with this idea of the Jetty sound machine that was also like, the graphics are made all with the Commodore 64, but they were all put in together using Flash. But this is the thing I would like to show. So actually, the way I work with the Commodore 64 is like a BBS style. So basically, I use a software that records all the keys I press. So there's no copy-paste, there's no control-set. So you just type, and when you're finished, you save it, and it will play it, speed it up. So this is kind of an example of the way I work with the Commodore 64. So there's no editing, it's just me typing faster up, but in a row. So enjoy. Thanks. The music is from Tifa Sathi crew. As you can see, it's like the blinking cursor going up and down, deleting. So basically, the animation is just built like that. You go in with the arrows up and down, deleting and putting all the characters together. And yeah, I make some mistakes. You don't know. You cannot see it, but I do, and you have to solve it or start all over again. So actually, it's a very challenging. I really like to work with the CCT4 because it kind of you cannot do anything else because it requires all your attention, and I mean you cannot blame the computer for being old. It's just up to you. So if you make a shitty animation, it's your fault. So it's kind of like a really like direct and kind of punch in your face, like you did shit. So okay, it's up to you to fix it. So in a way, you have to have a conversation and a dialogue with technology instead of just pressing a button. So it takes a lot of time because yeah, now it's like 5 minutes, but it took me almost like 3 weeks of like 5 hours of typing, like tick, tick, tick. So, but I don't know. I really like the challenge. And also I wanted to show you this because also I use it so it's not only for animation. So there was a collaboration with a theater group called Bandit Sagor in Sweden, and they made this project called Game Over, and it was about like a little, I mean, the topic was a bit sensitive. So it was a girl with cancer, and they made this like a live theater piece that we mix Commodore 64 and video games graphics mixing like with acting. And normally I do this live performance. I wish I were in my 64. So I do like this light typing animation that, yeah, normally it's like 30 minutes of me typing. And this is kind of like, because I really like the challenge of just sitting in front of you and all the audience and trying to make something, even if I fail. So it's kind of like a, yeah. So and as you can see, you can make also like a very big projection. I mean, this is a screen in Ethiopia. It's a art center in Zaragoza in Spain, and they have this super huge LED screen. So actually, the resolution of that is like 123 plus 68 pixels. But they was all made with pesky graphics. And yeah, also these kind of projections with mapping, as I can say, like even if they're very limited the quality, still like pixel graphics, so you can embrace and make a lot of things. And also I use these Petsky characters that I use with the C64. I converted into mosaic because the idea was like the expanded to beyond the screen. So I built this kind of like do-yourself mosaic, just using different characters. And also I built this piece, totem piece, because I think we have this faith in technology now that it will be solve everything. So I like to make this joke of technology solutionism using CNC and Commodore 64. There's kind of examples of what you can do with something very limited. You can also like expand it. This is all open source. And yeah, I think I'm going pretty fast. So, and lately, as I say, I work with obsolescence, but obsolescence is not only technology, it's also the materials. So I like to connect like all technologies with brutalism, because these text character-based graphics are kind of like this concrete, because they're raw and unadorned, and they were, the dystopia of the future that would be great and everything, but it failed. And I kind of like to connect. So I was invited to go to a residency in Seoul, and Seoul is the concrete city per excellence, is everywhere. and I built this, I did this research of like brutalist architecture mixing with teletext graphics and photography. And this is kind of like the idea of blend different types of things using this thing of soulless things. Because at the end, so this is a sample of a P2 one, and there was also like an animation inside. Because I think all my last thinking is like, the fossils of the future would be not animals or stones. They would be technology, like cables and all the trash we throw it away. Because at the end, technology goes so fast that you not have the time to learn how to use it. And it's actually something that happened to me, because I couldn't never have the technology right away, like the new one, so I was always like 2 or 3 steps behind. So for example, with DVD came up, because I'm from 1977, so actually I grew up with all the technologies and all the formats, and they've been all like, yeah, that would be the solution of everything. Nope. So I always kind of work with this limitation with technology, and I have to come up with solution if I want to make things, even if I didn't have the knowledge or the software. So I actually try to use as much open software as I can. And the funny thing, well, the name of the project in English is Concrete Redundancy. So, and when they translate it to Hangul, the first symbol in Korean, it was meant fire. And that remind me that the late 70s in Germany, the squatters and the workers were like spraying in the concrete buildings. It's a pity that concrete does not burn. So I really like to play with this idea of like mixing and kind of have. So yeah, this is another animation, but I didn't download it. So yeah, this is the idea of the technofossils that I mentioned before. And this is something I've been like, because when I was in Seoul and in Denver, I found it like I found in the roadside, like, because I was looking for like technology that people trust it, but actually I found the belongings of 2 people that they were like gone, and they trust all the things to the street. And it was a biker and a mine engineer. And I got all these pictures and like technology from them. And this is actually now I'm connecting because obsolescence is not only technology, but it's the materials and ourselves. And even if we collect a lot of things and we're trying to get, most of the time ended in the trash. So this is kind of like the idea of the concept I want to, with all this artificial and intelligent and everything was going everything so fast, but at the end it's like, yeah, what is happening? Like, we just going so fast and everything is disappear, and this is kind of like, oops. The question I would like to throw to you, and actually, yeah, if you have some questions, I will really be super happy to to have you. So, what do you think? Yes. Yes. Yes, I think so. Yes, it's a CNC. So actually, it's like all the graphics were made on the Commodore 64. So I make it. I vectorize. So and it was just like I built this like a structure with the. So it's like a puzzle structure that you can build. So all the sides you can mix. And it's printed with a CNC, not a 3D printer. So it's on wood, and it's, I don't know the word in Spanish, but it craves on the wood. So I did a version for Canada, because we couldn't send the totem there. So we did a 3D, a laser cutter version that was with the holes. So it was a different thing. But the thing is, like, with just the very simple graphics, you can make all kinds of formats with that. You're welcome.
So we're kind of naturally squeezed into Q&A section, and for that I also have a few questions that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And is there, there's always like a big community of Adobe After Effects followers, or like users, or Cinema 4D users, and a lot of people like. Is there something like for teletext art? Do you have your own teletext art group somewhere online where is there a new update? No, it's not, or something?
No, actually, there's a group in the UK that we are part of it, and we have Teletext 2.0. That actually you can get like Violet, and so he make. We have like coders and programmers and teletext engineers. So the software I used was made with one of them, Simon Rolls. So it's actually an online text editor that you can just use it. Another friend, he get from the VHS all the teletext, and he kind of make like an archive of the teletext from the VHS. We have this 2.0 version of teletext with the different colors, and there's actually like Horsenburger and mass capacity. So actually there's a gurus of teletext, so I'm just part of them. So yeah, it's actually a big,
Okay, so it's like a really thriving community.
Yeah, we did some meetings like a demoscene, like demo party style in Cambridge in the computer museum. So yeah, we squeeze in.
Perfect. Well, I don't know, like maybe have you tried to put this into like a ChatGPT prompt or anything? Seems like this might be a black hole,
Yeah, that would be.
You can trick it.
I mean, as I say, I'm not a programmer, so I'm always looking for collaboration. Actually, I got that far because I contact people through internet and we find it. Actually, the software I used for the Commodore 64 was made in a demo party from Johan Kotlinski. And he just make it, okay, I want to do this. And he make it in 2 hours. So actually, I would be not capable of doing anything without all the people I collaborate. So actually, yeah, I'm always open for new ideas and new things.
Okay, maybe. And how actually, like, as the technology is quite limited, how do you prepare to create all the illustration? Like, do you sketch them before, or do you storyboard, or write your own scripts, or you just start experiment with the technology and see what happens?
Yeah. Before, I mean, I have to train myself a little bit because I spent almost 1 year, because when I got the 64, I never used it, so the symbols were really new for me. So it took me almost like a year to make something decent. But I mean, I've been doing several workshops, and it's been fine because everyone uses the symbols in a different way, or they find the connection in a different way. So it's just the way of play with them, and you find kind of your way. But at the beginning, I have to sketch just using grid paper because it was impossible. I have to visualize. But now, I can drive. I can type in drawing, like more or less what I want. But from years of trying out and fail.
Okay, and I have no idea, like how this thing works. But have you ever think of a project that would be like somehow interactive with the audience as well? I don't know, like if they would need 20 remote controls, whatever, I don't know, but or some sensors, or if you have any idea for this kind of thing.
I mean, I've been doing not like I didn't make not interactive project, but it would be fun and a challenge. But normally it's been more like performance of theater pieces, of video games, like alternative video games. Actually, the picture they used was from a video game that you kind of have to train monkeys to play music.
Is it possible to play it somewhere online?
So actually, you find some monkeys in an island, and so you have to train them. So it was kind of like, so you have to play the music. So you go to different stages, like the garage, your first concert, the bar, and the final stage. So yeah, it was more like a video game style.
Okay. Did you have any favorite video game?
Actually,
is there any like reference that you're driving for?
I don't play so much video games. That's the funny thing about it. But no, I just read a lot of topics. I just grow up with the old school arcade, like Tetris and stuff like that, very like puzzle thing. But no, I don't play so much video games.
Yeah. All right. Are there any questions in the audience? We already had one, but if you want to ask, just raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. Yeah, Vojta is raising his hand, so he's gonna get the mic and ask.
Thanks. I wanted to ask about the video you showed when you said that you stayed for 3 months or something, without the internet or whatever. So the video we saw, like the way you used it, like the software used for it, did you like create like separate assets which you somehow like combine together in some other software, or is it what you, because I saw that there were different, let's say, widths of the pixels and all that, so I was wondering if you just like created separate assets and then somehow, I don't know, regular After Effects or also some other different software to put it together, like the layers and stuff?
Well, actually, I use Flash CS3 in Windows XP. No, because I mean that's the. I mean, I was not joking when I have shitty computer that doesn't run. So After Effects was never possible for me because my computer crashed. So I have to find solutions of like very old school software. It was not for a choice, but at the end, you know, you feel comfortable and it happened.
So high tech in comparing with Teletext.
Yeah. So actually, I have a Windows XP thing like in my computer that I still use it. So I use this. I don't know if there's internet, but yeah, is this I mean, I use this online software for the teletext that is called edit.tf. You can find it. I know I can. Someone can ask me later. And basically, because it's JavaScript thing, you can download the JavaScript. So I was using that offline to build all the pages. So all the graphics are teletext pages. So I built everything of that. And after I took everything to Flash, my Windows XP with a very, very small screen. Actually, my eyes got really fucked up after that because it was super small. and yeah, I just create symbols, animate. So I'm very basic way of doing animation, like 2-4 frames, no more. And also some of the graphics were made in Amiga, like using the Brilliant software, this like kind of abstract, colorful thing behind. So I like to combine different tools and just put it all together, but at the end I use Flash. So it's like very, because my computer cannot handle it, basically. So when I was showing like, you know, before that computer class, it was like, yes, I know this feeling. But I mean, I guess since at the end I felt comfortable with that and I keep using that tool, probably if I go to After Effects, my life would be different. But is this thing of the limitation that actually make the work as it is. So I think I like that as a challenge. So you don't have, I mean, I don't make my life easier. Probably would be better, but yeah, I think that's why maybe it's a bit different from the rest.
Cool. Are there any other questions in the audience? Yeah? Yeah, just wait for the mic.
When you made the animation on the Commodore, I was wondering how did you actually take the animation out of the Commodore, and because I guess you can't export an MP4 from a Commodore. Or
Yo.
No?
Well, no, that's not happening. So before I have to use like, you know, connect the Commodore to the TV, record, so I use this composite recorder thing. But now, yeah, I mean, I make my life easier, so I use the emulator. So I took, because with the Commodore 64, before I used floppy disk, but now you have like a piece of hardware that use an SD card, so you don't have to use floppy disk. So it's also like technology, yes.
Commodore 64 with an SD card, okay.
Yes. No, but it's just only for the software and
sure.
everything. So you take the SD card, so you can take your file and just put it on the emulator, or like, and I record the screen. But for example, in the demo parties, you cannot, even have everyone have that, you have to go with the floppy disk. If not, your enter will not be allowed.
Proper lo-fi.
Yeah. So
you have
it
to
will
follow
like,
the rules.
Even if afterwards they played it with the Ultimate 2, like the SD card, you have to go with the floppy disk.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
I like your work very much, and I was very interested about that you are doing even the big scale. So I was interested about the architecture. Are you interested to doing even using the patterns for facades, or you are more interested to do the digital, like let's say the games, and continue doing the games?
No, I like to mix both because I kind of, I really like the brutalist architecture because it's very geometrical and it kind of suits, it makes my life very easy because it's very easy to draw in using Teletext and 64. And I kind of have this vibe of like dystopia of the future that I kind of really like. But I'm open to projects. Actually, it's kind of like, I use this technology as a base, so it's kind of the idea, but I like to kind of expand it. So that's why I call it like expanded typing, because the idea is like kind of get out from the screen as well. So
yeah, I think like a lot of architects would be interested in doing facades with
that
these
would
patterns.
be cool. No, actually I've been seeing like some, because in Prague there's a lot of like decoration in the buildings and a very like geometrical thing, so it was like, I should take a look. So I got very inspired here. So, and yeah, I was, as a reference that I use for the work is like the Art Deco, because it's really geometrical and linear and it's very easy to type or to draw using this technology. And it's very like, kind of, yeah, robotic in a way, pixelate.
All right. Any more questions? Yeah. There's so many.
Yeah, make it shorter because I'd rather speak to you.
Yeah, perfect situation.
Hi. So the live typing as animation is really cool. It's almost like you're playing an instrument. And I think you said like you also there's no Command Z. You just have to keep playing. So I'm just wondering if there's a musical component to your work, or if you ever even feel like sort of like a conceptual musician, or like something between a musician and an animator.
I guess all this year doing visuals, it gave me some kind of, I'm not a musician, I like to play with sound. Actually, the first animation I did the sound, it was my first time doing all together. But I kind of developed a rhythm, let's just say. So when you type and when you make the graphics, in a way, you have a rhythm in you that is happening, because most of the time it's like I crossing my fingers because I have the sound. Normally, I always have first the sound and I do the typing, and after I put it together and I cross my finger that it works. So because there's no editing, actually just putting the live typing and the sound, and it was like, yes, it works. So it's kind of like a rhythm in the way you build, but also like this, I don't know, this blinking dot going up and down, it's also give it, so it works all the time. So I'm blessed for that.
Perfect. It's just really sad that there were no so cool illustrations and animations in the 90s when I was checking Teletext every day for page 230 for the scores of ice hockey. But yeah, this would be so amazing to have it.
Well, BBC also have like games and stuff, and you can. But it's also like once the commercial value disappear, because this software doesn't. The Teletext software and this the typing software didn't exist before. So that's why also like people keep doing things with it, and I'm allowed to do this now. So I think it's part of the thing that is an evolution, but it's always welcome for people to invent more stuff. Because something I like about the demo thing with the Commodores and everything is because you always have to come up with something new. So you cannot copy someone else's work. You have to come up with something and challenge yourself and push it a little bit farther. And that's why I guess the demo thing is kind of like a very challenging and keep this thing going. And that's why I got so engaged with the Commodore 64.
Yeah, it's probably quite challenging as well, like in terms of that having such a limited technology that, quite gives you a visual guidance in a way, or
no, and actually when you have this competition and they put it what you do and people like it or not, that's it. There's no talk about it. It's like you're good, you're bad, suck it. So it's very challenging, but it's very honest in a way.
Yeah. So and you keep going, so probably you're successful there. Okay.
I will try.
Okay. Any last question from the audience? Okay, if not, thank you very much for amazing
Thank you so much.
talk. Thank you very much.